Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. I want to do a video. I want to talk about these Mr. Coffee makers. I've been finding some discrepancies with their filter baskets. I really like Mr. Coffee makers, but I just bought this LED touch display. It's a really nice coffee maker, but the filter basket overflowed with coffee grounds, and I got a bunch of coffee grounds into the coffee pot. And then I bought this one, this strong brew switch, and it almost overflowed. It didn't overflow, but it got really high in the filter basket. Then I've got this older Mr. Coffee, and it just works. And I'm going to show you what I found with these filter baskets. So let's start over here with the one that was really, really bad. And again, I may just have a bad part. You know, this coffee maker may be really, really well for everybody, but I looked online and a lot of people are having the same problem I had. So I think Mr. Coffee actually has a problem. So you can take, so these filter baskets, this is where you put your filter, you know, and that's where it goes. So you take this out, and it's got that automatic, that pause brewing. That's that plunger. I've got it apart. Now it comes apart really easy. You've got this thing, that's the plunger that comes up the bottom. This little washer, it just snaps around that ring when you've got it inside the thing. So I put it back together. I thought I would show you what it's like. So this is what it's like when it's all together. And there's the plunger from the bottom. And this one, you'll get some coffee out that center hole and around the sides. When the coffee pot goes up, it pushes that plunger. So what I'm finding is now, it may be that the water is brewing too fast out the brew head. I don't think that's the problem, but that could be the problem. I think it's just not draining fast enough out of this filter basket. So I'm going to take that little rubber ring, just pulls off. So you just reach in there. Yeah, you just grab that. It just pulls off. Now the plunger will pop out. It's got this spring, and it just comes apart. There's 3 pieces, and we're going to talk a lot about this piece. Okay, so there's that piece I'm telling you about. When the coffee pot's up, water's got to get around the sides of that piece and also through the center. And I'll show you that I think there's some manufacturing defects that's not allowing enough water to come around that plunger, I call it. Okay, so we're going to talk a lot about this plunger. So water comes through this center hole, and you can see there's this little square on the side. And when water comes through that, you can see my paper clip. So when the plunger's up, coffee is going to come into this square hole and out this center hole. But it's also going to, see how it's kind of fluted? I don't know if you can see that real well. But the sides of this plunger are fluted. So coffee's also going to come around the sides and drip into the coffee pot. But what I'm finding is, and I can't focus, isn't the best, but there are some manufacturing defects, like when plastic is fused together, there's like flashing little bits of plastic that I don't think should be there on these sides, and it's getting in the way because it's sticking out, and it's getting in the way of the coffee flowing over here. But I think the big problem is down in here in the square part. I can't show it to you. So down at the end of this hole, it's partially blocked by some plastic during the manufacturing process. I wish I could show it to you, but that hole should be all the way open, all the way to the square part, but it's not. So down at the end of this hole, I can see there's some manufacturing plastic, and that hole's about that hole's just not quite as big as it should be. I think no, it needs cleaned out more. And I'm not sure what the best way to clean this out is, but I can see the piece of plastic coming up. I mean, I hate to get too aggressive. I mean, you could use a drill bit with your hand, which I might try. Okay, so I've got a little drill bit set. The 5/32, the 3/16 is too big, but let's grab this. I'm going to first try just to blunt in, but I can see, I need to be able to, I can't even see, there is some plastic that is still, just need to get cleaned out a little bit. Okay, so the screwdriver, or the drill bit worked. I had to get a pair of pliers. My hands just weren't strong enough to turn it. But now you can see the screwdriver bit goes all the way to the end. You don't want to keep going and go through that. But there was some plastic that was blocking that. Now the other, and the way I came about this, so this old coffee maker, so this old Mr. Coffee that works really well, is I got its plunger here, and it's made a lot nicer. There are no manufacturing defects. This is all nice and smooth, and the flutes are actually a little deeper. This hole might be just a little bit bigger. And it's all smooth. It's all smooth where these two parts join. This is a good one, and the water just flows out of here. Really nice. So now the sides of the flute. I've got this old X-Acto blade. Now be careful, but it needs cleaned up. The flutes have got a lot of junk plastic on them, and they're kind of mismatched. So this flute is a different size than this flute, and that's got like a ridge there. And when they have to glue this part onto this part or something, but something's going on. I don't think Mr. Coffee realizes how important this little section here is to their coffee pots. And when mine overflowed, it overflowed really bad. So I'm going to clean this up, and then I'm going to give it another test and see how it does. I'm going to clean, see there's still some stuff on the inside here. So I'm going to give that a test. That's that one. And the filter basket's kind of different looking. It's kind of taller. Now this Mr. Coffee I just bought, its filter basket has got I took the plunger out the exact same way. And its plunger is even different yet. You would think they would make these plungers all the same. Now, there is no coffee that comes out here, the center part. I don't know why, but they changed the process here. It only comes around these flutes. So when it's in the, it has to come around the flutes, which you can see there's quite a bit of room around those flutes. These flutes are really deep, and I'm not finding hardly any manufacturing defects. So there's not much I'm going to be able to do to this one. I just wish they would have had more coffee coming out, even the center here. That's that one. And then this old reliable Mr. Coffee, here's it sits right there. You can see its flutes are relatively deep. Not as deep as that last one, but like I said, this one's just this opening might be a little bigger. It's just all a lot better made. I'll just say that. And then we get back to this one. This is the one that was really having problems. So I wish that opening, I wish the hole was bigger too. So you come over to this one. Yeah, I guess it's about the same size. It might be just, yeah, it's bigger. You know, the opening should be bigger. And let's check the old Mr. Coffee. Yeah, its opening's just a little bit bigger. So this one, the opening might be the same size, maybe just a hair smaller. That's all. That's going to make all the difference in the world. And then let's look. I don't see any. That's all smooth, you know. So when the plunger's up, you're going to get coffee. It's just these flutes are just. These outside flutes are just not very deep. So I did contact Mr. Coffee. You can't call them because of the pandemic, but I did do their email service. They got back to me the next day, but the lady was real nice in the email. She says, we just don't have parts. This is such a new stock or something. They don't have parts for these. So, but she did recommend me taking it back to Walmart, which I am going to do because this is at the way it is now. I can't use it. So, but I am going to give it one more test. And then I thought I was going to be able to do something. So on this one here, I'm going to take this one back too. This one, you know, I thought I was going to be able to clean this up a little bit. I think this is just what I get. I'm not going to be able to do anything. I don't want to modify it. You know, you could modify it to get more out, and that would help a lot. But yeah, this one, like I said, did not overflow, but it got all the way to the top of the filter. It's like, it shouldn't get all the way to the top of the filter. It just like 2 more drops and it would have been over the filter. And then it's a mess because you'll get coffee grounds that float in your coffee. So let's go give this one a try. Okay, so I've got all 3 coffee pots up here. We're going to brew coffee and we're going to check all 3 of them out. So one thing I did notice, so this is the older DRX23 coffee maker, and it's filter basket. So when there's no coffee or anything, it just kind of sits in here flush, kind of down low, and see how tall the plunger is. This newer one, the 12 cup, it's got a really heavy spring that pushes it up. Now, when you get water and coffee in here, it will weight it down. And this, when you put the brew head over, it does push one side of it down, but the other side. So when it is down, it does kind of stick up kind of far. Now over here, yeah, there's, originally I thought it was that the basket wasn't sitting down in the coffee pot. But when it fills up with water and coffee, it forces it to sit down. But you just can't see a lot of opening around that plunger down there. That's what that one looks like. And that's what that one looks like. So yeah, this is the one that's backing up really bad. So maybe there's just not enough room for that water to get down into that area. Anyway, we're going to see. Okay, so one last thing is the springs. So this is the older one. Its spring is like really weak, but it still works. But you can see the newer coffee makers. Well, the one in the middle, the Bold Brew 12 cup, it's got a really heavy duty spring. It's even taller. And the one that's failing really bad, the touchscreen one, it's the one here. It's about on par. It's a little taller and a little more thicker, I think, than this one. This DRX23 has been around since 2004, the older one. And then there's what all 3 plungers look like side by side. I was able to clean this one up, just not the best. Okay, I'm going to use the same coffee filter for my test. It's a 8 to 12 cup coffee maker basket style. So this mainly happens when, well, it only happens when we're doing the full 12 cups. So for every cup, the manufacturer says you can use 1 tablespoon of coffee grounds. So I'm gonna measure this exactly. You know, if anything, I'm going to err on the side of a little bit less coffee. They even talk about you can use a heaping tablespoon, but I'm not going to use a heaping tablespoon. I'm just going to use 12 tablespoons, and I'm going to put that in each coffee maker. Got the filters in. Make sure they're even. Okay, so I've got the 12 tablespoons of coffee in. There's the brew head. Like I said, this basket sits down really well. I've got this one in. This one's got some springy action to it, but when I put the brew head over, it kind of helps hold it down. And then I think as water goes in, that's going to help push that down. Now this one, I've noticed you got to close the lid. I'm not sure if that pushes down on this or not, but I have noticed that when you have water in it, it holds this. And this one's being held, even the coffee. So the coffee is enough to hold. This filter basket is all the way down and seated. Okay, so I've got my water in, 12 cups on all pot. We're going to put the water in and we're going to brew coffee. Okay, so I've got my water in. We're going to close the lids. We just come up here, we hit the brew now button. We got to make sure it's going to brew all the water in there. We come up here and just hit this brew now button. And down here we're just going to turn it on. All three of these coffee pots are brewing now. Okay, so it's just been a couple seconds, and I just want to show you the filter baskets. This one's sitting down in there really nice. This one, it's like I said, it's got quite a bit of springy to it still, so it's not fully seated in there yet. And this one's a little harder to see because the brew head comes up with the lid, but the filter basket is all the way seated in there. But water is coming out pretty fast on. So this one, the water was coming out pretty fast right away. This one seems okay. This one seems about the slowest so far. So it's been about 5 minutes. This one is leading the pack. It's a little bit above 4. This one's right at 4. This one's just almost catching up with the first one. Now let's see the oldie but goodie. So its filter basket's getting pretty high up in there too, but it's not getting up to the top yet. This one, so we're getting really high in the filter basket, but we're not overflowing yet. This one's doing really well in the filter basket. So this is what it sounds like when 3 coffee makers are brewing coffee all at the same time. Okay, so it's been 8 minutes. This one is it's a little bit above the 7. This one is lagging, still at the 6. And this one is just above the 6. So we'll take a look inside the filter baskets. Okay, so this one's getting, even the oldie but goodie is getting pretty high up in the filter basket. Okay, so this one's getting pretty high up in the filter basket too, but it's not overflowing yet. Just gotta be careful. So this one's also getting pretty high up in the filter basket too. Okay, so this one beeped at us to let us know it's done. It's at the 10-minute mark. A lot of steam. So it got really high in the filter basket. I do see a couple coffee grounds floating in the coffee. So this one is at the 8. Like I said, this is already at the 10. This is at the 9. It's getting towards its end. It's really high in the filter basket too. I don't see it overflowing. And here we have the oldie. It's high, but I don't see it overflowing either. I don't see any coffee grounds in the older one, and I don't see any coffee grounds in this one yet either. Okay, so this one finished up first. This one's got a little bit more to go, and same with this one. We'll take a look at the filter baskets. Okay, so this one got pretty high in the filter basket, but I don't think it went over. Same with this one. This one got really high in the filter basket. I don't see that it went over. It's still, both of these have some water to drain out still. So this one So this one got really high in the filter basket. I do have a couple coffee grounds in the pot. They're kind of floating around, but it's not extremely bad. Okay, so I think my modification to this one did help. The coffee grounds came up pretty high. The last time I did this, they were well above the filter, and it was an absolute mess. I do have a few coffee grounds floating in there. It's not tremendously bad. So that modification I did to that plunger helped this one out tremendously. I did not do any modification to this one, and I have almost the same result that I had before. I mean, there's just no room for error there. Now this oldie but goodie, I thought it was actually going to do a lot better, but the coffee grounds come all the way to the top on this one, but they do not go over. And I don't have any coffee grounds in the coffee pot. Okay, to finish up the brew basket, so even the old one, with all its, its filter basket looked a lot better. Even it gets pretty high in the filter, but it did not go over. This brew later, I'm just real nervous about this one. It gets really, really high up in the filter basket, but like I said, it doesn't go over. Now this one, the modification I did, well, it wasn't really a modification. I just kind of cleaned up their manufacturing process. It did help out a bunch, but I did get just a little bit of coffee. And you can see it. Yeah, you can see it floating in there. So we're going to dump it out over a white plate and see exactly how many grounds are in there. So I'm starting to see them now. Okay. So yeah, this one you do get, granted 90% of them were at the bottom of the pot, but still I don't want coffee grounds in my coffee. This was the LED touch display. So those coffee grounds were in this coffee maker. Okay, so we're going to verify there was no coffee grounds in this one. We're going to go dump it out over a white plate. Got the white plate. Well, there are a few coffee grounds in this one too. Just a few. Not as much as the other one. Okay, so now I've got the old Mr. Coffee Maker. We're going to check it too. So it's got just a couple up in here. Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay, so to end up, we did have just a few coffee grounds in the coffee pot from this. There was a few in this one, but the most were in this one. Now, I did the manufacturer specifications. I did 1 tablespoon per cup. I don't even drink it that strong. I use about maybe a half a tablespoon. I use about a half a cup. A heaping half a cup for a 12 cup brew. So, but these coffee makers should be able to do the manufacturer's recommendations. If they say it can do 1 tablespoon per cup, it should be able to do it. Okay, so to finish up, Mr. Coffee does have a problem with coffee getting in there, in their coffee pots. Like I said, this one was the worst. And then this one got a few, and then this one got a few. Okay, so one more thing I want to mention. So coffee filters. This was the standard 12 cup that most coffee makers take. Bunn coffee makers take a special coffee filter, and it's taller. It's got the same area down at the bottom. Well, this might be a little, but it's taller. So I know a lot of you, some people buy these at Walmart. Walmart may or may not be taking back things, so you may be stuck with this coffee maker. So I want to give you some options. If you can buy some Bunn coffee filters, that might help. I'm going to brew a real quick pot with a Bunn coffee filter and see if it does any better. So first, this is the standard coffee filter. I just want to show you. So you can see it doesn't come up very high in the basket. Now I want to show you the bun. So the bun, yeah, these are exactly the same. They're just taller. So we're going to brew a quick pot with this bun in. Okay, so I measured out exactly the same amount of coffee. We're going to put it in. We're going to do the full 1 tablespoon per cup. We're going to do 12 cups. So this is 12 tablespoons. Okay, so I started the brew process. I've got the bun filter in there. We're going to give that a try. So this one also had a few coffee grounds in it. And I'm going to see if the bun filter will fit in it too. Okay, so I'm going to see if a bun filter will fix this coffee maker too. This is the 12 cup programmable strong brew selector that just came out. This is the standard coffee filter that was overflowing. There's what it looks like installed. Now the bun filters, you can buy bun filters, they're a little taller. I'm going to install it and see what it looks like. So it goes pretty high in this basket. The brew head still, kind of catches it a little bit, but we're going to give this a try. Okay, so I've got the exact amount of coffee, 12 tablespoons of coffee, because we're going to do a 12 cup pot. So I move the brew head out of the way, put the brew head back. Okay, so we're going to start the brew process on this one with a bun filter in. And I did 12 cups of water. Okay, so the touch display Mr. Coffee is almost to the 4 cup. Let's lift this up and see how it's going. Okay, much better. Yeah, there's a long way to go before coffee grounds get in. We're going to keep checking this one. Okay, so this one is almost to the 3 cup mark. We're just going to check the status and see how it's doing. Okay, it's doing really well. Long way to go before it gets to the filter basket. And this is with the bun coffee filter installed. Okay, so we're going to check the status. This is a little bit above the 6. We're going to peek in here. Oh yeah, much better. Long way to go before the coffee grounds get over. So these bun coffee filters, they fit in these older coffee makers too. I mean, it sticks a little bit above, but the brew head goes on. And so you can use these bun coffee filters, which are taller, in these old Mr. Coffees. This one's been around since 2004, DRX 23. So you just have to watch putting the brew head in. But that would help eliminate any coffee grounds into your coffee maker. Okay, so this is about the 9 cup mark. We're going to check the status of it. Oh yeah, lots of room. Oh, coffee grounds getting in on this filter. Okay, so let's take a look at this LED touch display coffee maker. This is about the spot it was overflowing the filter basket on the last time. So this is with the bun coffee filters, yeah. It did not come over, so we're not going to get any coffee grounds into our coffee maker. Now keep in mind on this one, I did have to, I've got another video where I have to kind of modify that plunger a little bit. Well, not really modify, but clean up the manufacturer's process. They didn't do a very good job of assembling that plunger in the bottom of the filter basket. You got to kind of clean up some of the plastic that shouldn't be there. So, but a bun filter is the way to go on this one. It's really going to help things if you want to keep it. I mean, granted, it should use the old or the normal styles. See, it says just 12 cup basket style coffee filters. It should be able to use those, but if you want to use bun coffee filters, that's going to help out a bunch. So over here on the Strong Brew 12 cup, we're going to take a look. It's about at the 7 cup mark. Yeah, we got a long way to go before we're going to reach the top and overflow. Okay, just to finish up on the LED touch display, the bun filter definitely did a good job. We didn't get any coffee grounds. I don't see any floating in the coffee pot. I'm going to check them, and the bun filter is the way to go. So I hope you liked the video on the touch display coffee maker. I am going to be sending this one back. You shouldn't have to do what you do to make it work, but if you need to make it work, this is how you need to make it work. Okay, so back to the Strong Brew selector. Is at the 10 cup mark. We're nearing the end of the brew process. The water is pretty high in the filter, but it's nowhere near going to get an overflow. So I I'd say we're in pretty good shape on this one, using the Bun coffee filter. Okay, so to finish up on this Strong Brew Selector Mr. Coffee, I did not do any modifications to the filter basket. There wasn't really anything you could do, or I mean, not really modifications, but cleaning up that plunger like I was able to on this LED one, or this touch display one. But on this one, the solution is to add a Bun coffee filter. That will prevent any coffee grounds from getting into your coffee pot. This pot does not have any coffee grounds into it. The water comes up pretty high, but it does not go over the filter. Bun filters, they're usually around the Bun coffee makers. They might be a little hard to find, but you can find them online. So if you could, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.